Good afternoon, everyone. I will call this meeting of the Committee of the Whole for January 16th, 2024 to order. The agenda for this afternoon's meeting was circulated in advance. I'm proposing the addition of two items to the agenda. One is a standard one, which is the addition of public comments and statements, if anyone is inclined to make them, as item number 7. That would make closed session item number 8 and the adjournment item number 9. The other would be the addition of a closed session item, which would be item 8A, Fundy Albert bylaw number 2022-02, Code of Conduct bylaw for the Council of Fundy Albert. Are there any other additions to propose? There being none, do all members of council consent to the addition of these two agenda items? If so, I'll accept a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. So moved by Councillor Elderkin, seconded by Councillor Arrow. Any questions on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by stating aye. Aye. Opposed, if any? The motion is adopted. Are there any conflicts of interest to declare in relation to this afternoon's meeting? There being none, I will now move on to item number 4, which is public and administrative presentations. So I will offer our new CAO the opportunity to say a few things, keeping in mind that she's only been in her chair just slightly more than 1 week. So if you'd like to provide a little bit of an update.
And that was one of my points, but I will, first and foremost, I am honored to be the new Chief Administrative Officer, and I'm really dedicated to serving our community. I am excited about the opportunities ahead, and I really look forward to collaborating with members of this council, the employees that we have in place, and of course, all residents for the betterment of the village of Fundy Albert. I did start in the position just last Monday and have spent the last week getting acclimatized. Over the last 6 days, I've met with employees, some external stakeholders, and I attended the village council meeting last week. So today I also participated in a meeting with the Southeast Regional Service Commission and the network of village and city administrators. Information was provided on the commission's Eco 360 plan, 360, and the economic development initiatives, as well as updates on regional projects, communications, and some community and social development programs. And I'm sorry, I do speak very quickly, so you can do this if I need to. Just anybody can do that, actually. And although there are many village projects on the go, my current priorities are creating a grants and contributions policy and an application process and form, researching the Hillsborough Recreation Council, creating an access to information overview with some FAQs and a form, investigating a sewer line request in Ward 3, and preparing a budget summary report to taxpayers. So I just ask for your patience while I sort through some things and create a more structured plans in the month ahead, and I will present something a little bit better at the next council meeting.
Thank you. That was actually quite informative and quite a bit for your first week in the job. So I'll ask members of council to see if anyone has any questions to ask Ms. Sabarin, Councillor Arrow, Councillor Coates, Wood, Councillor Lamb.
No, thank you.
Councillor Jonah.
Good.
Councillor Elderkin.
No, thank you, Linda.
Councillor Ward Russell.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. So we'll now move on to item number 4B, which is the treasurer report. I know the treasurer didn't provide a formal report, but I don't know if the treasurer has any comments that you wish to provide.
Yeah, I have a quick little report just to give an idea of where I'm at. So currently, to let you know where we're at with our audits, is that I'm currently waiting for the response from Ascend for an update on both of the 2 remaining audits. And I've also spoken with Donna Floyd of Elma, and she is willing to make the trip to come up and to go through financials. And our CAO will go through a date and time that works best for you guys. And I'm just, right now we're quite busy in the finance office. We're working through year end and starting up quarterly billing. I've received notice from the Canada Community Building Fund that they've rejected our project for the Lower Coverdale Baptist Church generator installation. And I just received this news this afternoon, so I want to add it in. let council know where we're at with it, and my fellow directors and CAO will complete a list of options for council to approve for that monies that were left over. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hutchinson. Are there any questions of Ms. Hutchinson from council? Councillor Arrow, any questions?
No, well, I do. So, Jillian, earlier in the week, you sent us out the approved budget from,
Yes.
The province has approved both the general operating and the utility budget. And are those without any changes, correct, from what was you submitted to them?
I think there was like 82 cents change, but I haven't really to be able to go thoroughly to see where it's from, but
No, but
it's
apart
from
from, okay, but yeah, so in general, they accepted it as submitted then.
It certainly occurs.
yes.
Okay, very good, thank you.
All right, Councillor Coates, any questions of our treasurer?
Nothing at this time.
Hey, Councillor Land?
Jillian, I have one for you. Donna Floyd, you mentioned her name. Who is she?
Yep. She's a CPA that works out of the town, the town of Sussex, and she's the auditor for the former village of Elma.
You.
You're welcome.
Councillor Land, Councillor Jonah, sorry. Here we go again.
Starting 24 as we left off 23. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Elderkin.
Yeah, the two year-end ones that you're waiting for, is that the former village of Riverside, Albert and Elma?
Albert and Hillsborough.
Albert and Hill.
Oh, Riverside, Alberta. Yes, and Hillsborough.
So have we received the Elma draft?
Yes.
Okay,
I have the
so-
I have the finals for Elma
Okay, so.
ready for
And that's to be,
presentation.
and that's to be presented
At the next council.
at a meeting that's going to be scheduled with our CAO.
Okay. Perfect.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it for now.
Councillor Ward Russell?
No, I think I'm okay. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And I don't have any questions, so we'll now
Okay.
move on to our Director of Community, if you don't mind, just, you've already done it, thank you. We now move on to the Director of Community Services report. Our Director of Community Services, Mrs. Beers, has forwarded a report, and it was quite thorough, so if you want to, if there's anything that you want to provide in terms of highlights, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna highlight some of the current things that I've been working on. So emergency measures, I did submit an application for funding through the Hurricane PMF Fund to purchase new generators in Elma, Hillsborough, and Lower Coverdale. ACOA should be making an announcement hopefully very soon on that. Canada Day celebrations, I did apply for funding through the Department of Canadian Heritage for Canada Day celebrations. One for Hillsborough and one for Elma. The skating area, there's a new skating area in Riverside, Alberta that's more accessible. So some community members in Riverside, Alberta were looking to create a skating area on the duck pond behind the rec center on Bicentennial Street. And to create the skating area, a small bridge or a culvert is going to have to be installed. I'm happy to report the culvert has been installed and now residents have better access to utilize the skating area. I'm hoping to have a kickoff event. Excuse me, my throat. I'm hoping to have a kickoff event at this new ice surface during the February frolic. So stay tuned for that. Canadian heritage sites. So I'm working with some other municipalities that could be involved in the development of a network of Acadian heritage sites along the Petitcodiac. The project purpose and objectives is to establish or reestablish a network of pre-1755 Acadian heritage sites along the Petitcodiac River. The project has two specific objectives, and one is to enhance the value of pre-1755 Acadian heritage by protecting existing sites and monuments. And the second one is establish a network of tourist attractions to offer visitors. The promotion of Acadian heritage is necessary for three main reasons. First, the sites are little known and neglected to the point that if left unprotected, they may soon disappear forever. Secondly, these sites bear witness to the Acadian presence and engineering in the region before the Great Medieval. In this way, they could contribute to the education of our children, while they are tourist attractions with great potential. So we do imagine a one-day package by bus with a guide crisscrossing both banks in the summer. So we do have the next steps, which I did highlight in my reports. Strategic planning, website branding. I'm still compiling quotes for new website branding design and strategic planning. Once I've compiled all that information, I'll forward it to the CAO for review and approval. The streetlights, prior to the Christmas break, I did submit a request to the MU Power to install streetlights in Lower Coverdale. A work order has been created. I haven't heard whether it's been completed or not or done, but there's six or five new streetlights and one that's being requested to be fixed in the Greensboro subdivision. The Shoreline Trail, I'm currently working on a request for proposal for the Hillsborough segment of the Shoreline Trail, hoping to have that out by the end of January, 1st of February. Students, I did apply for the following students under Canada Summer Jobs and the SEED program. I don't know if you want me to go through the list, but I think we should have good coverage this summer as long as we come back successful. The February frolic, so I'm working with Friends of Fundy and other community partners to assist with the events for the upcoming event, which does kick off February 10th to February 19th. So stay tuned for more information on that.
Great. Thank you very much. A lot of information.
Yes.
So we'll just go around the room to see if any of the councilors have any questions for Mrs. Beers, Councillor Arrow.
Yeah, hi, Kim. On the branding and website or marketing, a number of months ago, I sent in information from a person in Fundy, Albert, who's in that business. Did you get that? Because it wouldn't have gone to you directly. Remember, if you recall, council members, there was a person who's in that business who provided sort of an outline. We'll maybe work with Lyndon, make sure you get that, so
Okay.
that,
Yes, please.
okay,
Yeah.
that's it. Thank you.
Okay, great. Councillor Coates.
Not too much. I did run into a graphic designer. And she's interested in doing some work if you, I'll send the information to you.
Sure.
If you're looking at it. But that's about it.
Great. Thank you, Councillor Coates. Councillor Land.
Nothing. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Jonah.
No, it's just a lot of work going on here, Ken, and thank you. This is very detailed and you're definitely getting things done, so thank you very much.
Councillor Elderkin.
Thank you.
And Councillor Ward Russell.
Yeah, I was gonna say somewhat the same. So this is a very detailed report and I appreciate getting it ahead of time so that I could read it. And if there was any questions, enabled me to ask, but I think it's great just to let you know that the lights have not been completed. So I'm not sure if we can follow up with MB Power to see where that work order sits. That probably wouldn't be a bad idea. The other quick question was, with regards to the lifeguards, when do we start advertising for that? Because I know that we did have some trouble last year filling those positions. So I'm wondering if we probably shouldn't start with some advertisement with the lifeguards in the near future, just so that we might be ready for whatever happens this summer.
Yeah, and I would echo the idea that we'll probably have some challenges this year trying to find lifeguards. And it's something that we struggle with. So we'll have to try to get things started. I know there was a resident in the community who had approached me because he's got contacts with the Canadian Life Saving Society, I think is what it's called. And he has some contacts with them, and he's, last time I spoke with him, he hadn't heard back from him, but I'll put him in contact maybe with Mrs. Beers.
I just know some of these, trained positions, I guess, I'll label it that. I mean, they're applying for summer jobs now.
Mhm.
So, if we are going to try to fill those positions, then I think we should advertise so that they're aware of them.
Can I just answer when you talked with MB Power and following up with them? So before, when I opened the request right before Christmas, they said this is a busier time of year than normal and it would take about a month or so. So it hasn't been a month yet, but I will follow up with them in like 2 weeks, it'll be a month
Perfect. Thank you.
Or so.
or so.
Right, thank you. The next one is our Director of Operations report, Mr. Reed.
Not a lot to report. It's been a quiet winter so far as snowfall and stuff goes. The guys been working on fixing up and doing some maintenance on some summer equipment and things like that. I just wanted to congratulate our new CAO. She's been here a week and a couple of days, and I think we've talked every day on several things. So it's good to see that we're making headway with a lot of unanswered things. Other than that, I really only have maybe a statement, I guess you'd call it, to make. The whole deal of writing up a counselor, removing them from a committee doesn't sit well with me. In my 19 years working with the village and in contact with other villages, these little requests of helping out committees and different things in all 3 villages has gone on for many years for many different things. And when I see a council just take it upon themselves to put an investigation group together and pick on one person without maybe sitting down as a team and saying, hey, you know, maybe this stuff needs to stop and have a meeting about that first. Meanwhile, these 2 people that did the investigation, one of their wards, we were continuing to pick up large items to take to the Eco 360 with our village equipment in one ward. And the other person, you know, doesn't hesitate to call if a resident calls on, you know, a dead raccoon that doesn't look good on the road on the weekend, come out and pick it up if I'm having the taxpayers' money. And these are the people that do the investigation. Doesn't sit well with me. I really think council maybe needs to get together and work a little more as a team rather than, from what I see in a lot of residents, there's a lot of animosity in between councilors. Anyways, other than that, I guess I do have some other things, but I'm gonna leave all that for now.
Thank you very much for your comments, Mr. Reed, but obviously you don't know the intricacies of everything that has occurred, so, and that is a council decision. It's a decision that council took as a whole, and it's a council decision that will stand. If you have any concerns in the future, I suggest you sit down with our CAO and have a conversation around that, as opposed to bringing up those types of issues in a council meeting. Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Reed, Councillor Errol?
No, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Coates,
Good. Thanks, Scott.
Councillor Land,
No.
Councillor Jonah,
No, just want to thank Scott and his crew for continued support of what they're doing on the village. I do appreciate it.
okay, Councillor Eldricken,
No, thanks, Scott.
Councillor Ward Russell.
No, thank you, Scott.
Great, thank you very much. So we will now move on to item number 5 on the agenda, which is new business. And the first item of business under new business is social media terms of use. The Village of Fundy Albert social media platform is a popular and effective way for us to communicate information to our constituents. There appears to be an increasing interest in the use of it, as can be demonstrated by the number of comments that we see on it almost every day. There's also a lot of information that's being shared by the community, and it's really good to get that information out there. In the past year, there have been instances where the public feel that their questions on a range of issues should be answered on social media. The creation of a social media page was never intended as a means of communicating directly with the municipality. Rather, it's a communication tool, one that we use to communicate information out. There have also been instances where posts have been disrespectful and where there has been some vulgar language on the social media platform. In addition, some posts are not visible to many, including elected members of council. As a community, we must ensure that our social media platform is safe for all to use and enjoy. Access to social media is important for elected members of council, as it's a way for us to know what's going on in the community and how our constituents feel about the job that we're doing. For this reason, I'm proposing that Fundy Albert adopt the social media terms of use to ensure that social media posts are respectful and are available for all to see. I've shared a draft of the social media terms of use and would like your comments as it relates to the need, the benefits of putting rules around this method, and the rules around this method of engaging with the public. Perhaps others have a different view. So I would open it up. So I'll go around the room. Councillor Ward Russell, any thoughts on that?
No, I think it's definitely needed, and I appreciate the work that you put into providing this draft to us. The only thing I mentioned before is that I do believe that we should actually stop the ability to comment. I understand the freedom, but yeah, I think it's causing more harm to us than it should be. So I think that the need for us to use social media would be for information purposes only. And if there's any comments or questions that should be directed to the CEO through her email.
Thank you. Councillor Elderton, any thoughts?
Yep. One thought, this here is for Fundy Albert's policy. Is there a staff social media policy? Do we know? Is there
I
part of?
believe there is one currently. I know that there is a draft of an employee policy that's being put together, and I've seen it, but I don't recall whether there's anything in relation to use of social media.
The other thing, I think the comments should stay. I don't think comments are a bad thing. If there's individuals that are the issue, then that's what we need to address, not the ones that use it properly. There's more that use it properly than there are that use it in, I guess is my thoughts.
Just in terms of the content of the draft that I circulated, any particular comments or concerns with it, or?
No, the only one question I had was, which I didn't quite get out of here. Do we comment or reply on here?
You can send your comments and then we can bring it forward. The idea with that is it would have to be adopted as a formal terms of use by council before it's communicated to the public.
Right, but do we reply? Maybe I did.
On social media? you mean?
Yeah. Is that something we will continue to do, or it should be a part of our policy if you have issues to call the office?
Well, it's part of that.
Yeah.
It was part of that policy that if they have any questions in relation to services, that they should refer to the administration office and or including the CAO with their comments. There are always going to be questions that maybe we can respond to, like what time is the pool open? You know, if it's not clear, or those types of questions. But when we're talking about questions relating to details of services that we provide, those should really be coming through administration.
So we're leaving it open to interpretation, which ones get answered and which ones don't.
That would be kind of difficult, or we don't answer any.
Mhm.
You know, that could be a way that we adopt to deal with social media posts, not answer it any. So give it some thought. The whole idea behind bringing that topic up during this meeting is it allows us to talk freely and to have a more of an informal conversation. Councillor Jonas.
I agree that we definitely need something put in place. Let's face it, there's been a few individuals that's turned our social media into a circus over this last year. And if we can't get a hold of it that way, by suspending them or blocking them or however if it continues, I'm gonna have to go with Heather's idea of just shutting down all comments. That's where I was heading before this came out. I'm a little more, yeah, let's try and see how it works, but if it continues, something's gotta be done. It really, really has to be done. And if it shut down comments, I'm good with that.
Okay, thank you. Council Land, any thoughts?
Yep, I agree, we need social media terms of use. I concur with Mr. Jonah, Councilor Jonah. And if we do take their name off the list for being aggressive or whatever, you got it for 6 months, I kind of change that to 12 and don't take them out for the year, right? But other than that, no, I agree. It needs to be a positive experience and that's what it should be. And if it isn't, take them out.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Councilor Coates.
I did send you some comments on it and, just on the borrowing them or putting them out for 6 months or whatever. I just like it bold or underlined to bring the attention to them, you know, some of the comments are where, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Arrow, any thoughts?
Yeah, I tend to agree with Councillor Ward Russell and Councillor Jonah, at least your gut feel that I prefer that our communication sources are one way out. So we're communicating to the community information as necessary. I still believe that our primary principal vehicle should be the website, at least the focus should be there, which it currently isn't. It's the Facebook page, it seems. one of the reasons that I believe in having it one way only and not promoting or allowing the two-way dialogue is it requires a moderator, as this policy implies, and the moderator is effort on our part. And at this point in the development of our community, I think that we don't have the resources to properly moderate this. Meaning, I think there are more important things for our limited resource to be directed to. That's my view. I do have a question. If we went with this and we allow two-way communication, and we have a moderator, and the moderator needs to take some of these actions that are listed at the bottom in terms of the compliance, where there's the basically a blocking of banning of a person, removal of posts. How do you block the person? Is that just through a feature of Facebook? How does it actually happen?
I believe that can be done on a case-by-case basis. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that the social media, at least on a personal level, on your personal account, allows you to do that. I suspect it does on a business page as well.
Anyway, so I think it's because of the need to moderate the discussion and the effort and resources that it takes to do that. I don't think it's worth it for us at this time. In terms of, like, somebody used the example of if there's a query about pool hours, for instance. I believe that the way all of these queries should be is like it's noted here about services, that it comes in as a letter or an email or a phone call in through administration. If we realize that there's a query from a member of the public, that other members of the public would actually probably appreciate the answer to this, that's the kind of thing that I think then we make an adjustment or an update to our website and to our Facebook page, one way out, saying, by the way, pool hours are, if we realize that we didn't have that information, and that's my view.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask our new chief administrative officer to see if she has any view, but I'll speak first and then let you think about what your answer might want to be. I'm personally, the easy way would be to, as you say, prevent anybody from commenting. However, when I look at other communities that use social media as a communication tool, they don't only do one-way communication. It's two-way communication. It provides for two things. One is the ability to communicate outward, but also to see what the general feel for the general feel for the messages in the community, as long as it's done respectfully. Perhaps one of the ways of dealing with some of the concerns that I've heard is to say there will be no responses on social media. If you have a question, get a hold of administration. Then if there's a need for further clarification on social media, then it's another message going out. No questions coming back in. But it's not like, I think Councillor Elderkin, I feel the same way that Councillor Elderkin feels, is that if there are a small number of offenders, then deal with the offenders. But to just outright stop two-way communication, I'm not sure that I wouldn't be supportive of that, even though sometimes I tend to be the brunt of some of the comments, but I don't, if it's done respectfully, then I have no issue. So I don't know if our chief administrative officer would have any comments.
So I admit that I have not read the document yet, but I do have to put my support on Councillor Arrow. We don't have the resources for 24/7 media, social media cycles. So if we want employees to start monitoring Facebook on Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, then we're going to have to pay them to do that. That would be an overtime. We don't have the resources to do that. It's a full-time job in itself. So unless we can find something that we could hire somebody that is doing maybe graphic art, social media, all that combined. Otherwise, I know that Kim's been doing that on her own and not being properly compensated for it would be where I would.
And just to respond to your question, you know, I hate to be putting you on the spot. We do have something on there that said that the social media would be monitored kind of during the day, Monday to Friday, not on the weekend.
But if there's a disparaging comment that's on a Friday night, it's gonna sit there till Sunday morning or till Monday morning when people come in, so
Yeah.
it would kind of. It would be better not to have it there at all if it's gonna sit there for 3 days, would be kind of beside that.
What about the possibility of putting out there the possibility that it would only be one-way communication and see what the public have to say about that? Because my sense is if we just cut it off, we could get quite a bit of negativity brought to us in terms of not being able to comment. Just a thought. What about, how do you feel?
They're
Councillor?
gonna comment anyway, let them comment on their own pages,
Right,
not related to the village.
Councillor Overton, your thoughts?
Well, there's all kinds of pages that they commented on. It's not just Fundy.
For sure, yeah.
So
Okay, Councillor Jonah?
I would be in favor of putting it out, but it sounds like this table almost looks like, you know, if we went to vote, we'd be voting to just a one-way communication, so. I'd be good putting it out there and see what the response is, for sure.
Councillor Land?
I'm gonna split on both sides because there's a lot of social media, they're going to event regardless wherever they go. So if we do close it down, you're still gonna get it. But I also understand from the point of view of the council and mayor that we do need to do something with our Facebook page. So, yeah, we can put it out, see what response is, or I'm gonna be on the fence on this either way, it doesn't matter, because, but we do need to address it. That's what we need to do, is address.
Councillor Coates, one last kick at the cat.
Yeah, I would be in favor of letting them respond to it to see one or two negatives. Don't ruin the whole thing for everybody that's using it. And we've got such a vast variety. Like, I'm sure there are a lot of people in Lower Coverdale don't even read what comes out of Fundy or Riverside Albert. So we need that the constituents can voice on it, and I think we should reply to it.
Hey, Councillor Arrow, any other comments?
I don't actually.
Okay, well, if we were to turn the commenting off, which I believe we can do, then there's really no need for social media terms of use policy. Because we would just be turning it off. We can give it a try and see how things go. And I would suggest that we all give it some thought between now and our first meeting in February. And that we come equipped with a motion to make a decision on what we're gonna do. And that's what I would suggest, and see where we go from there.
Would it be possible, Bob, to put it out on social media, just as see what kind of responses we get, that this is something that we're considering doing?
Sure,
See how that looks.
we can put something together. Yeah, we don't mind doing that. So anyway, and this is the whole idea of bringing this out, because folks will listen to our meeting this afternoon, and I suggest it may draw some comments. And until we shut it off, so go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the policy itself, if we were to have two-way communication. And we can find the resources to properly moderate that policy, I think it's sound. Right, for that, I don't have negative comments per se about the policy. Okay, it's the principle of it.
Of the
for
comment.
it. Yeah.
Sure, okay. All right, so we will move on to the next topic, which is council meeting presentations. So the Village of Fundy Albert procedural bylaw requires the public, requires or provides the public the opportunity to appear before council to make brief presentations on matters within the subject matter jurisdiction of council. Could be services, could be programs that we offer. There have been instances where presenters have used the opportunity to present to council as a way of repeatedly quizzing council on a variety of topics, including administrative, operational, and personal. Section 2 of the presentations portion of the bylaw requires the clerk to prepare a council report form where required. We really haven't been doing that. Council report forms are provided to members of council to inform them of the topic of presentations. When this information is not available, members of council really have no way of knowing exactly what's going to be discussed and what the potential questions will be. Some municipalities have placed limits on the number of times a person can present on a topic in a calendar year. Others require a copy of the presentation to be provided to council ahead of time. This would be helpful as it would allow council members an opportunity to better understand the nature of the information provided and allow them to be prepared to respond to questions. It would also, if we had a copy of the presentation, it would help the clerk prepare, or CAO clerk to prepare the council report form so that council is fully briefed on what's going to be discussed. Any changes to the procedural bylaw would require an amendment through a formal bylaw amendment process, which would include 3 formal readings. Any thoughts on that issue? Councilor Ward Russell.
Again, I think it's a policy that is needed and important. I think we've talked internally about this as well as far as defining the definition of presentation. So I think that's probably one of the first procedures that we need to do is define what that actually means to all of us. It changes per person. I think timing, I don't think that individuals should come back month after month or week after week. I think it should be a limited of how many times a person can come to council. And again, I don't think it's a place to air your dirty laundry per se, or to complain about services, or that kind of information should be dealt with one-on-one with the CAO. So I think, in my mind, the definition of presentation is the most important part.
Great, thank you very much. Councillor Elderkin.
No, it's pretty well summed it up.
Okay, Councillor Jonah.
In a nutshell. Yeah, I'm good with that. Go ahead.
Councillor Land.
I agree with Councilor Ward.
Okay, Councillor Coates.
I'm with Heather.
Okay,
Yeah,
Councillor Errol.
and I'm with Heather as well here, so I guess is the idea that someone around the table will produce a draft definition for presentation, and once agreed to, that would find its way into the procedural bylaw, the meeting procedures bylaw. Is that right? That's how we do that?
That's the idea.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
correct.
Because I think we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but I think we all agree that we want presentations, the opportunity for members of the public to make presentations on matters of importance to the community, to us. But there's a way that we can narrow that down to differentiate between matters that are better done through individual submissions, either to the CAO or to the mayor and council, versus a public presentation, I think, at a council meeting.
Yeah, and the idea is not to prevent the public from coming in and presenting information, or perhaps if they have concerns. The idea is not that. It's just to make sure that it's done in a manner that's productive.
Yeah.
And that at the end of the day, will allow council to reflect on the concerns and then respond to the individual accordingly. So what I would suggest to council, and this is one of the things that's allowed within the committee of the whole, is to refer the matter to the chief administrative officer to prepare if there's an amendment to the bylaw that's to be prepared, and it's to refer it to the chief administrative officer to come to council with some recommendations. Is everyone okay with that? All right. So, great, thank you very much. We'll now move on to item number 6, which is mayor and councillors' statements and inquiries. We'll begin with you, Councillor Errol, if you have anything to provide.
Actually, to the council table, no, but just the CAO in particular, yes, that Linda we need to meet soon, which we should, about the Alma water contract and oversight of the project moving forward. But I'll call you perhaps tomorrow. We can go from there. I have nothing.
Okay, Councillor Coates.
2 or 3 things. I'm concerned about, and I brought it up before about these, quarries being out. Not being under our commercial tax rate. I don't know how we can get the PID without pinpointing on the map and seeing what they are. I looked at one and it's getting to be a big quarry. And it's woodland. And woodland tax is nothing. You know, I shouldn't say nothing, but 100 acres, maybe it's what, $14 tax or something like that. And they're never gonna replace it. So they should pay the penalty, okay? I'm working on that to get some. I was informed today that Southeastern New Brunswick Snowmobile Association has just put a Generacs up there that will run all the heating and both the Groomer Garage and the clubhouse. And I'd like to know, do we have anything like, I know we've got an agreement with the Kiwanis to use their place. Is there a form that we get, or is there an agreement that we ever had in writing, or is it a handshake?
No, initially it was kind of a smile and a handshake, but we did put something together formally that recognizes the fact that we provide the generator, and there's other small issues with that. But the agreement is that we are able then, because of the fact that it's our generator that's there, we're able to use it as a warming center.
So that would be in the Hillsborough office.
Yes, yeah.
I'll follow up, but when I was told they would let us use it anytime we wanted to use it in an emergency type of thing.
Yeah.
But I'd like something in writing because the president's changed. Yeah. So on. At our January council meeting, you mentioned something about the EMO and getting regional.
Oh, it was a comment that the Southeast Regional Service Commission was going to look at the creation of a regional emergency measures plan, as opposed to each municipality trying to create their own. So that was discussed at the Public Safety Committee. Yes.
Where is it going?
Oh, where's it going? It's just right now it's in the minutes, so we have to move it forward. And it's the committee that moves that whole thing forward. I do have to meet with, because I'm the chair of that committee. I do have to meet with the CEO of the Southeast Regional Service Commission, and they recently hired a new person that is going to be moving some of these files forward. So that's what that is.
Okay, that's good. So should we continue pushing Fundy Albert one, or should we get?
Well, my understanding is that the Fundy Albert one pretty much is in place.
Yeah.
Although I have looked at it and it seems to be kind of, seems to be a little vague for me. Or at least I don't see an entire document that spells things out with roles and responsibilities. And perhaps someone has a master copy, but I have like a very small binder with a few pages. But for now, I would say, let's keep what we have. Let's see how the conversation goes with the Southeast Regional Service Commission. Because it makes no sense for us to continue going along, trying to plug away, creating a local plan if there's going to be a more regional plan developed that we can all use.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. One last thing. A while ago, I think had out suggestion that we could have a meeting, council meeting in Lower Coverdale. I think one of our agendas when we were elected that we were going to switch it around.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see maybe not in April or May, go up there and and try it and see what it's gonna work out. I think you had prices on it, and it's not out of the word.
Well, if you go to our website, you'll notice that the locations for, I believe it's from April onward, are blank for council meetings. That was
And
the
then we got that
intention.
for,
That was the intention of that,
Yeah,
is to
okay.
allow for council meetings in different locations. The key
Yeah.
is that we need to have at least good cell phone coverage so that we can video or Wi-Fi. And I believe the one location that Councilor Ward Russell's thinking of has Wi-Fi, so that would be a good location.
that's a follow.
All right, thank you very much, Council Land.
Yes, I got a personal thing, I have to go through this letter of reprimand. I've had a couple phone calls this week trying to wonder what it was. So I'm gonna explain that. I'd like to explain what the letter of reprimand was to myself. I asked Public Works Director of Operations if there was a couple of staff available to help move Literacy Express contents down to the VIC. He said, you have the arena, go and ask them. He was okay with that, and I asked staff and they come over to help us. It took us about 35 to 40 minutes to move everything down. From one public building to another public building. And the assets of Literacy Express are owned by Fundy. There's only 2 tables and 2 little chairs that are not owned by them. But I want to make that because there were some questions around. And also, at the present time, I was supposed to call the CIO. On 2 calls to ask that permission. And the public works staff was present, Nancy Land, Denise Bickford, Bob Rochan, and myself. We were the ones that moved it down. So I just wanted to clarify that, so if anybody's listening, they know why that letter of sanction came towards me. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Councilor Jonah.
Couple things. First, I want to congratulate John on the appointment of deputy mayor. Congratulations. And Linda, welcome aboard. I was away during the official kickoff, and I want to congratulate you on thank you for taking this position. And well, I'm looking forward to working with you. I certainly am. Just one thing, back in time flies, I don't know, first November, December, I had emailed Councilor Elderkin and Arrow about approaching your fire deputies, or your fire chiefs, I guess it is, about getting a master call list of all your firemen. Just wonder if you had an opportunity to do that. Hillsborough thinks it's a great idea. They brought it to me for the simple reason, once we finally flip over to the new TMR system, you're gonna fire, instead of calling people by their nicknames or whatever they know them as, start being a little more professional and using their fire call letters or their numbers, and have a master list at the village office as well as a master list for each of the 3 fire departments. So if you guys could, take a look into that, and that'd be great.
Well, the village office should have a master list of all the firefighters.
I don't think there's a call numbers on that, or the call letters or whatever, like each one has a number associated with them.
It's a radio call,
So
something.
really, yeah.
Yeah.
So they just thought that would be a good idea, and then it'd be up to them after the list is compiled. If they have any changes, go back to the office and get that changed. But,
I have not done that, thank you.
but that's it.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Elderkin.
No, just a couple of things for me. The Riverside Albert fire truck, now that the budget's been approved, don't want to lose track of what the next steps are with the process. So that's just a flag for me and for the CAO.
I did receive a call that the tender document is being finalized. And that should be, the individual should be in contact with their CAO any day,
Yeah. And do
if
we
that
have-
already hasn't happened.
At what process do we ask for the debenture? Does that come before the tender?
That would be a question for our treasurer.
Yeah, I want to make sure we're doing things in the proper order.
Right.
That we don't put a tender out for money that we haven't received or have a guarantee for.
Right.
Yeah.
Ms. Hutchinson, are you still with us? I noticed your screen.
Yeah. Yeah, my screen's black because my kids keep running back and forth. So what we do for that process is we apply for interim financing and long-term. So then they give us the short term, we borrow what we need to get the vehicle. And after they have 2 seasons where we can sell our debentures. So at that time, so say we get it in spring and they've already had their spring debenture selling, we wouldn't put it to debenture till fall, we would sell it then. Does that make sense?
No, but that's okay, as long as it makes sense to you, then. So.
I'll
did-
find different terms to explain it better for next time.
okay. Does that process, I'm assuming, happen before it goes to tender?
Mm,
That's the
I-
part.
like,
after-
see,
I would
I've
think
never
probably-
done a vehicle before, so I will,
Yeah.
I do have a few contacts that I will be in touch with and I'll get an answer for you.
I would think probably not, because when you put it out to tender, you don't know what the price is gonna be.
Correct,
So
True.
you need to know what the price is before you go to borrow money. So
so
that
if you
to me
can
would
just
make sense.
confirm that, just so we don't lose track of it, that's all.
Most certainly.
And, yep, and again, willing to host a Ward 2 finance meeting when everybody's ready.
Great. All right. So thank you very much. Council Ward Russell.
Yeah, just have a couple things here. So, as I tried my best to participate in the meeting where the budget was being approved, I cannot sit quietly and represent the Coverdale LSD where over the last 2 years, we've had an increase of over 30%. I know that some feel the LSDs do not pay their fair share, but between the Hillsborough and the Coverdale LSD, we contribute over 55% of the total cost of the Fundy Albert budget. I'd like to suggest a public consultation for all taxpayers in all areas where the shared services are defined and made public to all. The largest tax base continues to support Fundy Albert. So my question is, how do we increase the tax base in other areas? This should be a high priority for the council. As we move forward, I hope that a solution can work for all. And I also would suggest that setting up some sort of committee to oversee these concerns would probably be a first start. Finally, I've been asked numerous times and again today about a brochure that actually talks about or showcasing the who, what, and where of who we are and who Fundy Albert is. So I think that we should put that on our priority list as well and have that distributed. That's it.
Great, thank you. And I really don't have anything to provide since our last meeting of January.
And if.
Yes, go
if I
ahead,
could-
Councillor Arrow.
I'd like to just dovetail on the EMO, and it's a question that, and maybe it's even for Kim, our Director of Community Service. I noticed I think it's either, maybe the Facebook page, where it was the call for our standing offers.
Yeah.
How's that going?
We received one. Well, I don't, did you receive some, Jim?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I've only received, I did do
You
the one,
received one
yeah.
Did you say poor?
for.
Poor,
Oh, I
yeah.
thought he said
Two
four.
others,
No, yeah, so
Sorry.
poor. So the standing offers, this is from suppliers of services that would help us in an emergency. I don't know, do we need to?
I've included it through the Connecting Albert County.
Yeah, maybe that's where I saw it.
Social Media, I don't have access.
They're
to
not
the
on
website.
Facebook.
Actually, that's where the Connecting Albert County is where I saw it. So I don't know if we need to do it again or something, or somehow raise the,
I think.
because I think those of us involved with the emergency management organization for the community hope that we have more to be able to draw on in the event of
Very much.
an emergency.
Is that the one, sorry, that you asked for the rates and all that?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of threw, because I think in the smaller communities, we're used to asking what you have available, but there was no rates attached to it, I don't believe, in the past on the EMO. If there's a downright emergency, you need a list of every asset in the community.
This, I think there's some of that in our emergency measures plan, actually, is an inventory of service providers and a general sense of the equipment they have, if I recall.
So I did see the form and it kind of refers to under the emergency measures, we need this information. I think maybe if it was reworded and it's almost like we would use this in the event of an emergency, which we would, but rather if you would like to be a supplier that we can call on and provide us a list of the assets that you have and your regular hourly rate. So we have an inventory of not only the assets, but what it would cost us if we called upon those assets during an event. So to me, when I saw that, it wasn't entirely clear, so just maybe a change in messaging might be appropriate. just,
Okay, so that's, but.
we can definitely have a
Yeah,
conversation with the
so
CAO.
if we can get a better
Take a look at it,
response,
yeah.
I think it'll be better for the
Yeah,
community.
because ideally we want a, a fulsome list of assets and.
That's it, thank you.
I think why I sent that out is, there was a constituency that was going on, well, there was contractors in Elma that could have done the ditching. And, that's what I was trying to get around, is
Mhm.
get, and Jim Lindsay was gonna talk to the contractors in that area. And I've talked to a couple in, Hillsborough area, and, I haven't got anything written yet, but
Mhm.
it's working on it. But your suggestion is great. I
Yeah.
think we should, and just pull that one off for now and
Okay.
put another one on.
Anything else?
No.
No, we will now move on to item number 7, which is public comments and statements. Any member of the public that's here today want to make any public comments or statements? If not, we'll move on to item number 8, which would be closed session. We do have one closed session item, so I will accept a motion to move into closed session. So moved by Council Land, seconded by Councilor Jonah. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, signify by stating aye. Opposed, if any, the motion's carried. So thank you very much for everyone for attending, and I will turn the recording on.